In Kenya, there are approximately 2589 lion, according to a survey report conducted by the Kenyan Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife in 2021, specialized in counting the number of wild animals. These lions have entered the endangered red list, especially due to the increasing density of the population near the Masai Mara ecosystem, the most famous reserve in the region. This density has led to increased contact between lions and people who are understandably concerned about their livestock falling prey to hungry lions. Despite the fact that male lions pose a significant threat to each other, humans remain the greatest threat lions could ever face. Human-lion conflict, retaliatory killing, and illegal hunting are among the primary reasons endangering the future of lions in Kenya and elsewhere. So today we speak about a lion that lived in this area and made a huge name alongside its mighty brothers, never crossing anyone's mind that they were waiting to receive news of the killing of one of Kenya's most famous lions. This lion, which disappeared since late January, was believed to possibly be patrolling its territory boundaries and roaming the land, chasing other animals as usual. He is the powerful lion, Olobor. As all followers of this magnificent lion know, expecting the worst is always likely, especially in a place teeming with competing hunters and predators. Olobor was a member of the Black Rock Boys Alliance, which is considered the strongest and fiercest current lion alliances in Africa. These four lions are bloodthirsty, not distinguishing any living creature and committing every thought that comes to their mind to killing, torturing, and brutality. Olobor was the notorious leader among these four lunatics, perhaps the most bloodthirsty compared to any other lion. Many compare him to Mr. T, the devil himself, the terrifying lion and the epitome of absolute evil in history and in the Mapogo alliance. His actions and brutality cannot be predicted, especially as he sees himself as the worthiest and the strongest among all. Olobor was known as a killing machine, thirsty for adventure, pursuit, and combat. He killed lions, lionesses, cubs, without leaving anything behind. He killed the lion Sankey, also known as Monaco, and also known as Frank II, the son of the legendary Jesse. Despite Frank II being considered one of the largest and most terrifying lions, Olobor easily killed him as well, and almost killed Jesse too if he hadn't been slaughtered by the Masai Mara tribes after encroaching on their territories. Olobor also engaged single-handedly in battle against a whole group of hyenas and slaughtered them mercilessly, killing and injuring many of them, standing confidently in front of everyone on his land, knowing that we're talking about a lion only 5 years old. So in the world of lions, he is still considered young at the peak of his prowess, with at least another 5 years ahead of him for roaming the wilderness, hunting and fighting, if he remains in full strength and health. Other lion cubs he encountered did not escape his grasp. He killed many of them, especially lioness cubs like Kusinga, most of whom he killed. Olobor's ferocity escalated when he found no lions to challenge and fight, to the extent that he turned to his brother Olumina when he decided to fight him. Before a lioness from the Gai Pride joined Olumina against Olobor, but despite that, they couldn't overcome this angry and crazy lion, as he injured them and left many marks on their faces with his claws, as if to say, "This is a souvenir from me." He was an exceptional lion whom no one could defeat, and not a day passed without his face being stained with the blood of his victims. He never tired of engaging in any battle. The only thing that left him exhausted was overeating and roaming with a belly full of meat. His fame reached beyond the region, as followers came to see this strong leader from all over the world. He was considered a great national treasure in Africa, especially in Kenya. He triumphed over buffaloes and wildebeests, reaching elephants, hyenas, lions, including his brothers. However, sadly, his journey ended at the hands of humans who managed to eliminate him. On January 27th of this year, Olobor and his very close brother, the lion Oloshiba, decided to go on patrol to guard their territory from enemies as usual. But Oloshiba was spotted alone returning to his pride without Olobor, who disappeared suddenly. Then after 10 days of his disappearance, things started to look worrisome. However, as we said, the expected scenario is usually the worst, as it was initially speculated that he got into a fight and was injured after a battle with the nearby Sankey alliance, then disappeared to recover from those injuries before returning. The second possibility is that he may have been killed by the Masai Mara tribespeople due to his repeated attacks on their livestock. Unfortunately, the news was later confirmed that Olobor died, or more accurately, was killed. However, also without any photographic evidence of what happened, And without finding the body of this lion, the truth about Olobor remains unclear, and no one knows the full truth except Olobor himself. The area where Olobor died is the Maji Yavisi area, which has a bad reputation for killing lions, especially after more than one lion has been killed there, such as Baya Haile, Meridati, Luciado, and now Olobor. The only one among them whose body was found is the lion Baya Haile, while the bodies of the others remain undiscovered. The information coming as evidence from the guards is plentiful and contradictory, but the most likely scenario is that Olobor was hunted down, stabbed with spears and swords, and tortured before he died. The latest information came from one of the Masai Mara tribesmen living in the Maji Yavisi area, saying that all this talk is a lie and has no basis in reality, and nothing of the sort happened. He also blamed the Narok County government, saying that the biggest evidence for this is that the incident was not announced until about a month after it happened, and there's a reason for concealing and covering up the matter all that time. He also said that they didn't find the body, and perhaps it was deliberately hidden. What's worse is that the system there is completely corrupt. So it's possible that Olobor was kidnapped and sold to anyone who paid a lot of money, and it's not necessary to sell him alive, as they could also sell his body after killing him, selling the skin and fangs, and so on. The situation here carries completely different scenarios, and the days will prove the validity of any scenario. But the catastrophe will be greater and greater, and it will be extremely disgusting if there is no evidence of the life or death of this lion, as all responsibility will be placed on the corrupt or neglectful government. What happened happened, and now Oloshiba remains alone amidst many big and strong lion alliances, and he must find another alliance to join, or form a new alliance with a new lion to ensure his survival and be able to protect his land, females, and lionesses. In the end, the saddest thing about this issue is that Olobor achieved everything, but he forgot to be a father to many cubs who could have carried his strength and terrifying genes. The Mapogo lions, which are considered one of the most famous lion coalitions in history, with their harsh tactics and the speed with which they invaded new lands, they were unlike other alliances. They killed almost every lion they faced, and they killed all the cubs, and even the females who opposed their rule, led by the most famous lion ever at that time, the legendary leader Makulu the Terrifying, whose life story full of challenges and blood is missing. The famous lion and later the great leader Makulu and his brothers were born in a pride known as Spartan, specifically in 1998, after a group of lions known as West Street Men took control of this legendary pride. In May 2000, the cub Makulu, who was somehow lost, was forced to struggle and try to survive alone. But in July of the same year, 2 months after he was lost, he returned to his original pride, but with most of the pride members, especially the females, not accepting his return. So many of the observing photographers remained puzzled about the origin of this cub and whether it belongs to the pride or not. But the male lions allowed him to stay, leaving everyone in great astonishment. After a while, the females gave birth to 3 new cubs named Rasta, Pretty Boy, and Dreadlock. Then they later gave birth to Mr. T and Kinky Tail. Makulu became the oldest individual among his brothers at an age that could make him an important member of the pride, and he worked to defend it and preserve it, especially after he possessed a huge and very strong body. So he led most of the big hunting operations, as the older males relied on the presence of these cubs to defend them against attacks from other lions, so they never tried to expel them out of the pride like the rest of the lions. So Makulu fought side by side with his fathers in the pride many fierce alliances that were made to control the pride, like the Split Rock roller coaster python males and the original Milwaukee males from 2004 to 2005. Then Makulu prepared his 5 brothers to build a strong legendary alliance through his combat experiences and wisdom in leadership, to later separate from the pride after the death of the last West Street seniors, and in order to experience roaming and exploring the area in Sabi Sand, and indeed Makulu took his younger brothers and crossed them to the hottest and most dangerous areas of Sabi. This new young alliance took control with all its strength, and struck with an iron fist since its first settlement, as by 2005 to early 2006, Makulu took upon himself to protect his younger cub brothers through his constant guarding of them against the surrounding dangers, which appeared with the first real fight that gathered their older brother with one of the males, who was called Langolini. Makulu and Langolini fought for sovereignty over the area. It was a very fierce battle, and a proof of self for Makulu, who came out of it this strong lion victorious with some minor wounds, and then returned to his lands that he had recently seized, while Langolini was injured in that battle with some strong wounds that left their mark on his face. The cubs grew up with their brother Makulu and roamed Sabi Sand, destroying habitats and lions that tried to confront them, and their alliance was named Mapogo, and with the increasing strength of this alliance, the competitors did not stop trying to attack the Pride, led by Ottawa Pride Lions, which Makulu repelled their attack with all strength and violence, including the male Raven who provoked Makulu, despite knowing that he has no chance against the strong Makulu, where the result of their individual fighting was the defeat of Raven on the borders of Londolozi area, and the angry Makulu chased him outside the borders, then Raven ran away terrified. Later, Makulu returned to his main homeland with his brothers to take revenge on the lions that were controlling the Pride, as he wanted with his brothers to revive their father's competitions with the aggressors. The alliance led by Makulu and his savage brother Mr. T defeated the existing enemies one after the other, as many alliances were eliminated, led by Lions Law Office Lions, Split Rock Males, and Roller Coaster. Then the Mapogo took over the entire land, and they wreaked havoc in the entire area, leaving behind their rule many dead, from the senior lions, cubs, and even females who dared to confront them. By 2008, almost all of Sabi Sand's lands were under the control of Makulu and his brothers, after most of his competing brothers were killed and expelled within the Pride. But once tension and love of control prevailed within the alliance, Makulu turned to the conflict over ownership and defense of his right to control as the oldest of its members, so he got involved in a bloody, fierce battle against his brother Mr. T, nicknamed Satan, to end the fight with the defeat of Mr. T, to prove Makulu's strength and severe prowess, and his right to rule. After this fight, Makulu and 3 of his brothers remained in the western sector, namely Rasta, Pretty Boy, and Dreadlock, while Mr. T and Kinky Tail, the 2 powerful lions in Mapogo, headed east to protect the exposed borders in the northeast and south due to the large number of competitors wishing to control such vast, habitat-rich lands. So the confrontation with other lions was inevitable for these 2 lions, and indeed they faced new challenges that were defeated strongly due to their exceptional violence and ferocity. But despite this division, Makulu remained with his brothers in leading the western part with all strength. The harmonious matters and the calm atmosphere in the west were the predominant character of the alliance, as they worked to increase the number of the herd and raise the cubs and chase the competitors who tried several times to enter the area, while the east was a theater for the battles fought by his brothers, as they fought hard to defeat one competitor after another, even in battles where competitors outnumbered. And because the calm in the wilderness does not always last, so 5 young lions from the Majingilane Pride invaded the area, causing a big fight in which one of their members fell and the rest fled. But the Majingilane, who did not surrender, decided to monitor the brothers to later single out the younger brother, Kinky Tail, and kill him. And once Mr. T arrived at the place, he knew that he could not face the angry lions alone, so he had to withdraw and return to his brother Makulu in the west after about 2 years of departure and rupture. Makulu allowed his brother Mr. T to rejoin the alliance despite all the previous hatred, to reorganize the alliance and lead it to launch again on a journey of revenge for the death of Kinky Tail and challenge the competitors. Indeed, the brothers walked around with all anger on the surrounding lions for revenge, with eyes filled with fire and greed for killing and destruction, without any response from the cautious competitors. However, one of the reserve guards reported that he saw the 5 Mapogo chasing the 4 new Majingilane alliance to the east, and they continued behind them in the Kruger Reserve in the northeast, ensuring that they would not approach the area again. Makulu lost his brother Rasta after a while at the hands of some hunters, and he was very sad for his death, to remain alone with his 3 brothers, and the alliance became composed of only 4 members. But the wise Makulu remained, preserving the leadership and dominating his brothers, despite that he does not enjoy a strong presence like his previous era, like his devil brother Mr. T. Months after the disappearance of the brother Rasta, Dreadlock was also killed by a human gun, to spread the tragedy again on the legendary Makulu alliance, and the number dropped to 3. And by 2011, Makulu and his alliance continued to defend the western sector of the Pride, as they worked to repel another attack for strong young lions who tried to penetrate the area. They were called the Matimba Alliance. Makulu and his brothers succeeded in killing one of the 4 Matimba members and chasing the rest, who decided to withdraw outside the borders of the place, and Makulu received in that battle some minor wounds. Later, another young alliance of 4 males advanced. They were called Tsalala, and they wanted to control the Pride after the Mapogo alliance advanced in age. But the other strong ones, with their vast experience in killing and attacking, repelled them and chased them away. 2012 came, and the effect of aging on the alliance was clear now, as Makulu was 14 years old at that time, and in February 2012, the Tsalala alliance returned to challenge the Mapogo again. But Pretty Boy saw them and confronted them and repelled them for a period sufficient until the arrival of the rest of his brothers, where Makulu led the rescue mission of his brother with his brother Mr. T to repel the 4 Tsalala again outside the area, and Makulu continued with his terrifying brothers to win the battles. And with the great progress in age for the 3 members of Mapogo, Makulu decided with his great wisdom to leave the alliance with Pretty Boy in order to avoid death. And Mr. T. The stubborn was left behind them, who insisted on staying and protecting the lands. But after a while, the 4 united Tsalala returned to try to seize the western sector that they failed in previously, where and without Mr. T, expecting he was besieged by these angry lions, who could not resist these young lions due to his old age and weakness, as he was torn apart in a terrifying way and killed in the end. And then the young alliance took over the entire western sector. Pretty Boy reassembled his ranks with Makulu. It was said that they returned to the lands they were born in Mala Mala in Sabi Sand Reserve, without any response from the Tsalala alliance. But later, Makulu and his brother continued as nomadic lions, even though they passed through the reserves without any lion attacking them, as if they were still the dominant males in the area. From April to July of the same year, Makulu and Pretty Boy were attacked by the males of the Kruger Alliance, led by Freddy and his younger brother Limper. The latter was killed by the expert and strong Makulu, despite his weak, thin features, where that war reached its peak in a bloody battle at the end of July. To be the result of that battle costly, that led to serious injuries to Makulu, that almost cost him his life. This was the last strong, bloody, and valuable battle for Makulu and his brother, and its lines will be immortalized by the pages of the history of this region, with his legendary autobiography alongside his fierce brothers in their expansion and control wars. Despite those deadly wounds, Makulu amazingly returned from death to rejoin his brother Pretty Boy and live together in peace outside the land they used to rule, and they continued hunting despite their great age for the next half a year, and continued to move back and forth from Kruger to Sabi Sand. It was said that Makulu took a large buffalo for his injured brother, who was suffering from pain, whose life ended later due to his wounds by December 2012. And Makulu was filled with sadness after he was very attached to his brother Pretty Boy, and he went on his way with a raised head, but with a look of breakdown and great loss that appeared in his eyes. He was last seen entering Kruger National Park in March 2013. He was still in an incredibly good condition, and at the age of 15, declaring that he would never return to Sabi Sand to start writing the last chapter of his legendary life in Kruger Reserve, disappearing and leaving everyone imagining his whereabouts, to keep the last chapter of his life for himself as a legendary lion born for greatness, born to lead. He came out victorious from almost all his fights, and is still fighting inside the merciless jungle nature. He is the legendary leader Makulu, the commander of the terrifying Mapogo Alliance.